I absolutely love comic books. It's been one of the great loves of my life. I have thousands and thousands of comic books in my house. They're breeding. It's out of control, but I love it. So in this video, I'm going to walk through a deep dive tutorial on how I actually flip comic books without getting them shipped to my house. So if you're interested in flipping comics, but you don't want to pay for shipping and you don't want to pay for import fees and duty, then this is an easy and fun way that you can make some money doing something that you love. Now, the website that I'm going to be using is called mycomicshop.com. Here's the current comic books that I've got for sale. I've got 111 items listed for sale. Total list price is about $15,000. And I'm just going to go to my all sales all time just so you can see that I've done this for a while. So here's my sales all time. It's about $97,000. And we can see here, these are the listings. They're alphabetized of all the comics that I've sold over the years. The list goes on and on. I'm still in the C's, D's. It's going to go down, E, F, G. These are all comics that I have sold, probably going back about 7 or 8 years. So I do get my books slabbed, which means that I buy them raw and then I wind up sending them off to CGC and they wind up getting like CGC'd, which is slabbing the book. So here's an example of a slabbed book. You can see there's a case around it and there's a grade attached to it. So if you've never heard of a slabbed comic before, I'd recommend you Google CGC, which is the company that does the grading, and then you can't actually read the comic. So anybody who's not a comic book fan is like, what's the point? But the point is to have a really high-end collectible that can sit on your shelf. Now, the way I do it is I don't actually get the comics shipped to my house. So I buy the books, and then I list them for sale. So I'm going to show you that technique right now. Okay, so here's the actual technique on how to flip comic books and make some money specifically using mycomicshop.com, but you could use another website as well. You're going to want to look for key issues in auction. So the auction's going to come up on mycomicshop.com every week. They also have a prime auction every couple months. You're also going to want to look for key issues listed in the fixed price option. I'm going to show you both of these in real time. I'm going to do some examples. And then what you want to do is buy these on store credit. So if you've got comics you want to sell, you want to pay for it with store credit. If you pay with cash, you're going to pay a 3% premium, but you want to bypass that premium by paying on store credit. That increases your margin. And then you don't want to get the book shipped. This is key. And what they're going to do is place the book back into inventory. From there, you're going to then list it at a higher price, and you're just going to simply pocket the difference. So I've got a couple examples I'm going to jump into that I've done in the past, and then I'm going to show you how the auction and the fixed price would work in terms of research. So here's just an example. I bought this book for $1,750 US. This was a CGC 3.0, which is not a very high grade, but it's Avengers #1, and it was pretty cool because I always wanted to own a super key issue, and Avengers #1 came up, and it was a pretty good price. It was buy it now for $1,750. So I went onto eBay, I double checked, hey, this is listed below market value, and I bought it. So I was sweating it out for about 2 months, but then I flipped it and I sold it for $2,080. Took me about 60 days to sell it. So here's how the margins work on something like that. I sold it for $2,080. I paid an 8% commission. That's $166. That now nets me $1,913, so $1,913. My original cost was $1,750. So in 2 months, I made $163 US profit. So look, I want to point out, I'm not suggesting you're going to get rich quick. I'm not suggesting you do this full time. I'm not suggesting this is the new Bitcoin. What I am suggesting is if you're watching Monday Night Football and there's an auction on and you're having fun following along, you can buy and flip books and make a few dollars doing it, and it's a great way to enjoy a hobby and actually get paid for it. Here's another example. I'm a big fan of Amazing Spider-Man, and I've got an encyclopedic knowledge on almost all the early issues and the key issues after, say, about 150. There's a key issue called 700, and that is the issue where Peter Parker dies. So I've purchased this book repeatedly over the years. So in my example I'm going to show you, I actually bought a signature series book for $250 US. Now, when you take a look at the book, if you know anything about comics, you're going to think this is probably a good deal. Here's the book that I bought for $250. Again, this was a buy it now, so it was listed at $249.99, and you can see the signatures. This was signed by Mark Bagley, DeMatteis, Hannah, Kitson, McGinnis, McCone, McLeod. The list goes on and on and on and on. This is signed by multiple people. So if you know anything about CGCs, you know that a signature series does cost money, and if there's a multiple of signatures, then the value exponentially goes up. Now, I will say there's no Stan Lee signature, there's no Todd McFarlane signature, there's no John Romita signature, but the sheer number of signatures, I thought, well, this is a no-brainer. So I bought it for $250. I listed it, and about 2 weeks later, there's the book, by the way. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's a variant, by the way, of that 700 that I just showed you earlier. It's the same book, but it just has a slightly different cover. This is a more rare cover, and I just love it. So a couple weeks later, I bought it for $250, and I sold it for $405. So that's a pretty good markup for a couple weeks turnaround time. So here's my margins. I bought it for $250 and I sold it for $405. So $405 less of an 8% fee is $372. So I have to pay a fee when I sell it. And so the $372 is going into my store credit, less the $250 original cost. That's $122 US profit in like 2 weeks. Not bad. Here's another one. I am a Batman fan as well, and I've got a pretty good knowledge of Batman comics. And so this is Detective Comics 880. It's a Jock cover. Jock is a pretty famous artist. I absolutely love his art. So when a Jock comic comes up, I do pay attention. This was an auction, so I bought it. I won. This is back in 2017. I paid $172 for it. I then didn't get it shipped. I simply relisted it back in inventory, and then I sold it a few weeks later for $270. So I bought it in auction. I sold it in fixed price. Here's the margins. $270 less a 10% fee because it's under $300. If it's over $300, it's 8%. If it's under $300, it's 10%. That's a $27 fee. $243 in proceeds, less my original cost of $172. That's a $71 US profit in a couple weeks. Again, I'm not saying you're going to quit your job, but it's pretty fun to make money and to make some pretty significant money because you can do this 3, 4, 5, 30 different times over the course of an auction or two, and you can make some pretty good money. It does add up. Okay, so let's take a look on how to do this in real time. I'm going to go here to new listings on mycomicshop.com, and I'm going to see a bunch of new books that are going to come up. Now, these are new consignments. These aren't new books. A lot of them are quite old books, and a lot of them are listed into auction. So you can see that the price says prime auction April 3rd, but this one, for example, is listed as $143. So what I would do is I would take a look at a few different things. Is it a key issue? Is it a high grade? Is it listed under market value? Is there a lot of competition? That's another one that I would look at. So here's a great example. So this is Mad Magazine number 15 from 1954. Let's pop this open. This is listed for almost $800. So what you can do now when it's listed like this is you can go onto eBay and you can see, is there anything similar that's been sold in the past? And I want to point out about 9 out of every 10, it's not even going to be close, you're going to move on. So it's a lot of work, and eventually you're going to find 1 or 2 that you're like, okay, I'm an expert on this. So here's another one, Showcase 13, 3.5. This is the third appearance, and it's the first appearance of Mr. Element. Okay, so this would be worth at least looking at if you were doing an auction. You can see here on the right the sales data. So we can see here a 3.5 in the past sold for $740. Now that was a few years ago. So if it was in auction with a few days left, I would probably be poking around at it. Right now it's not listed until April the 3rd. We're going to keep scrolling through here and see if we can find a good example. Here's another example of something that I would not touch. So this is Walking Dead number 100. So I'm going to pop this open. And I'm going to scroll down to 100s, and you can see as I scroll down here to number 100, there's a ton of 100s for sale. The base is sitting here at 154. There's a B issue. There's all these variants. These are all issued 100. They're just different covers. There's a ton for sale. What you want to see is a bunch of this where it says the item is not in stock, but they're all available. So there's so much demand here. This is one you can get a near mint copy for $3. So it's like there's no point in buying something like this unless there's a serious signature on it. It's a super rare issue. And also Walking Dead, the TV show's kind of done. I don't know that this is going to be a major key like 10 years from now, so I wouldn't really be pursuing this. Here's another example, Moon Knight number 1, 9.6. I'm going to pop this open, and what I'm looking at are how many copies are available for sale. So here it says Moon Knight 1980 series number 1, and look at all the copies for sale. This is just flooded. So I would not touch this at all. There's no way. You'd have to be the best price for your CGC grade. So for example, this is a 9.6. So if you were to buy it and relist it, you'd have to relist it for more than what you paid. And a 9.6 is sitting at 114.45. There's 128.85. There's so many 9.6s. There's no point in buying this because you'd have to have the best price for a 9.6. You can see there's major variance in the prices. Here's a 9.8 for $1,850. That's crazy. Nobody's going to pay $1,850 for a 9.8 when there's the same one sitting here for $388, $349. You can see the prices are starting to creep down. It's all about supply and demand. So this guy's never going to sell this issue. It's just it's not even a CGC with a signature. It's just a regular copy. Like, sorry, buddy, it's not going to happen. So we'll keep looking. Okay, so here's a good example. So here's Batman 635 9.8. It's from 2005, and this is key issues. And the reason I say it's a key issue is because it says right here, first Jason Todd as Red Hood. Jason Todd used to be a Robin. He died. He came back, just like they always do. So this is a famous issue, Batman 635. Batman 635 is being listed right now at $319. Let's check out how many copies are for sale. And we can see there's some, but not a lot, and they're all priced pretty high. $489, $419, $413, $319 is the lowest price. So if this was trending up, maybe, for example, Jason Todd was going to be in the new Batman movie, or maybe there was some development with his character, then I would at least consider buying this for $319 and then listing it for significantly more. Now, there's another one here for $365. There's another one here for $380. So I probably wouldn't buy this one. But if it was listed at, say, $219, and that does happen, then you could snatch it up at $219. You could list it at $364 because that would be the next highest price, and you could do a quick flip. So it all comes down to not overpaying when you see something listed for sale. It's rare, but they do come up. So you'd want to be an expert in certain issues, and then you would want to make sure that when those issues are available, you pull the pin and you purchase with confidence. You can do this, by the way, on eBay as well. You can see that on March 27th, 2023, somebody purchased Batman 635 CGC 9.8 for $116 Canadian. But look at the trending prices underneath. We've got $541, best offer, $413. That was an auction, so that's a true market value. Here's $446, 37 bids. That's definitely weird. This is an anomaly, but they do come up. So you can also put into eBay searches, and you can save your searches. And then when something's listed, you can go in and buy it right away, because this guy probably didn't know how much it was worth, or maybe he listed it for the wrong price. So you can do this on eBay. It doesn't just need to be on mycomicshop.com. Okay, the other thing you can do is take a look at the weekly auction. So at the time of this recording, we have a weekly auction ending April the 3rd, and we've got all these different pages in here. You can also look through different grades. You can look through different years. I just like to scroll down, and I just like to look up what's available in auction. So I'm going to scroll right down to the Batmans just to see what's available. Okay, so here's a great example. This is Batman Vengeance of Bane. It's a one-shot. I'm going to pop it open. And the nice thing about auctions is when something's listed in auction, you can see the sales data. It's right here. So I'm going to click on this tab, and we can see that 9.8s have gone for $410, $392, $490. Now, it won't always say if it's a signature series, or it won't always say what the grade is in terms of the case, because like this is an older style case, but that's okay. I mean, it's still a 9.8. So you can see the auction details. Right now it's at $79. Now, there's still 2 days left. And so this price means nothing, $79 means nothing, but I would, at least in my mind, take a look at how competitive this book is. And we can see here, there's not a ton available. There's a few. My comic shop itself is listing one for $400, so you can't really go above that, although there is a minor edge side crack. The $384 is sort of the lowest priced option. So if this came in auction, say around $260, I would certainly put in a bid of $250, $255, $260, because there's evidence that it's actually sold for more than that, significantly more than that. So you can see here, somebody's purchased it for $392, and another guy has purchased it for $490. That's a pretty significant difference. If you're the one that bought it for $392, you could list it at $490 or $480, and you could certainly make some money. Here's another good example. This is Captain America number 117 from 1969. It's the first appearance of the Falcon. I absolutely love this cover. This is right now sitting at $156. Again, this price means nothing because there's still 2 days, 8 hours, and 49 minutes left in the auction. So let's pop this open. And what I'm doing is I'm looking at the sales data. So I'm clicking on sales data, and for a 4, we can see it went for $381 last year, and there's a 4.5. I usually look a grade above and a grade below, so it's around 350, 290. It's kind of trending down actually because there hasn't been a Captain America movie in a while, and we can see there's a lot for sale. So I probably would not look at this. So I'm showing you on purpose a bunch of issues that I would not purchase because most of the time you're not going to want to purchase it. But when you find the right one, that means you are going to pull the pin on it. You're going to notice in a lot of the auctions, a lot of the grades are like 9.4s, 7s. This is people, they're just throwing their junk into the auction to try to get rid of it. They're just trying to get whatever they can for it. So I would certainly stay away from lower grade issues that are modern. That's not something that you would necessarily want to pursue. Here's another example, Darkhawk, 1991. So this is a relatively newer issue. It's from the 90s. It's a 9.8. And for some reason, Darkhawk is a popular book. I'm not quite sure why. There's never been a movie about it. And we can see here the sales data for a 9.8 is around 143, 180, 206, 275. So you can buy these on speculation. You can see the prices fluctuate wildly because sometimes there's rumors about there being a movie, and so people will purchase it speculating that there could be some sort of big screen appearance. You can see here right now it's sitting at $89, knowing that it sells regularly around between $150 and $200. You could put in a bid up to say 110. And if you did a flip and even if you earned 20 bucks, that's a fun way to buy something, not get it shipped and then relist it at fixed price. So you want to make sure that you're an expert in something when you're purchasing these. If you're not an expert, I suggest you become one before you start spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars trying to figure out if something is going to be resaleable. This, for example, is a key issue. I know the Flash comics very well. I'm actually a relatively big expert on Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel Jr. This is something that I would absolutely love to buy, although this is a flashback issue. This is not the original. This is from 1974, which say, it's a beautiful cover, right? If you've got a question or a comment, I'd be happy to hear from you. I love talking comic books. Here's another video that hopefully you'll find helpful. Thanks a lot for watching.